A latest survey by India's National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences found nearly 150 million Indians are in the need of mental health care services, but fewer than 30 million are seeking care as of now. Insurance regulator seems to have spotted this need and directed insurers to make a provision for mental illnesses as well by October 31st. So, is your insurance cover providing the mental illness coverage right now for you? If not, how should you plug this loophole? To help us chart all of this out, we have Sanjiv Bajaj, Joint Chairman and MD, Bajaj Capital, joining us now. Sanjiv, good evening, and always a pleasure to have you on the show. So, let's talk about this directive given by the insurance regulator in detail, because I believe earlier also there was something notified, but then the insurance companies were not, imbibing it in their insurance plan. So, what is the new directive and how strict is it?
See, what happened is when the Mental Health Act came out in 2017, it directed that every insurer will make a provision for treating mental illnesses in the policies. But what happened was that all the insurers, since there was no directive directly from IRDA, so all the insurers did not incorporate it in the products. Now, once IRD understood this issue or the loophole that some companies were not incorporating it, especially in the older products. So it was asked, now it has asked that, look, you have to make the necessary changes and amendments and make sure that by this X date, all these, the mental treatment of mental illnesses is added into the policy. So we are in a great position that beyond a level in the future, all policies will cover mental illness.
All right, so let's talk about the coverage that we are talking about. How are mental health related illnesses covered in the insurance policies? Are we talking about issuing new health insurance policies that would have this coverage, or can we get this coverage in our existing health insurance policies also?
See, right now, well, look, there are many products which have come over many years. So that's what I recommend to all the viewers, that you must always get your health insurance policy checked through a good broker. Today, that whether it has the new age coverages or it is an old policy, for me to give a blank statement would be absolutely wrong. But most of the policies today, if you have bought a new age policy, will cover mental illness going from an X date. But yes, mental illness also has a challenge, is that a lot of time mental illness doesn't require hospitalization. And the mediclaim available in India is for hospitalization. So sometimes, your mental illness may not be covered, but now IRDA has said that you have to cover it in OPD expenses. And, the OPD means outpatient treatment, where outpatient treatment can be done. So now it has to be covered in a different manner where you don't need to be hospitalized to get it covered. And most of the companies are coming out with their own versions of what will they cover. Obviously, the coverage will be lesser than your sum insured. There'll be some sublimits on it, but companies are coming out with a clarification. Best is to go to your broker or your agent, whoever you bought the policy with him, and ask him, on my policy, if you require this, what is the coverage available, so that you understand it well.
As you rightly said, that these illnesses usually don't require hospitalization charge. So in terms of finding out loopholes or those areas which are left in your insurance policy, one has to get it checked from the broker. But also maybe just look into just talk to your representative from the particular insurance company to figure out if OPD charges, sublimits, and PD mental health issues are covered or not. You know. Mental health related issues are something which we are talking about: anxiety, acute depression, sort of things. A lot of money or a lot of charges are from the OPD side. If we are buying a new health insurance policy, what are the factors that one needs to count in, especially talking about mental health related issues to be covered?
Yeah. So today, look, if you are buying a policy, might as well get mental health also covered. If you already have it, then this is a pre-existing disease. You'll have to reveal it, and there'll be a 3 to 4 year exclusion. Okay, for the first 3 to 4 years, we will not cover the expenses on it, but after that, it will get covered. So that is number one, if you already have it. If you don't have it, then buy a product which offers this cover. Now, since this cover is most likely going to be outpatient, there is going to be a sub limit on it, which is going to cover the consults, and it is going to cover part of the medicines that are going to be treated. And you will have to look at that, what are the provisions for this in the policy. So what most of the insurers are planning to do is that they are planning to come up with a sub limit, and they are going to allow the patients to get a coverage for this without seeking hospitalization, which is genuinely not required in most of the cases in case of mental illness.
Will this kind of coverage also come under critical illness policies?
No, it won't come under critical illness, because critical illness is meant to cover only certain type of illnesses which require a hefty lump sum charge at that moment. So even a critical illness may not cover even a stage 1 cancer, but it'll cover stage 3 or stage 4 cancer depending on the policy, or it'll cover kidney transplant and this thing. Even there, every critical illness policy has a different coverage, but those are basically meant where there is a huge lump sum expense happening, and it pays you a lump sum compared to a Mediclaim, which pays you a reimbursement. A critical illness pays you a lump sum. Suppose you have a 10 lakh policy, it will pay you 10 lakhs if that event happens, whether you have spent 50,000 or you have spent 20 lakh rupees. They are not concerned about that. It's a fixed coverage for a fixed issue.
Premium rates would go up after having this coverage also in the policy?
I don't think it's likely that the rates will go up, but that all depends on the claim experiences of the company. So point is that there are bigger factors at play here, which is the medical inflation or hospital inflation which is happening. So that is a bigger chances of causing an increase in rate rather than coverage for mental illness. Yes, there may be some policies which offer a fantastic coverage for mental illness, and which is meant for people who are prone to this, or meant for people who have a PED or pre-existing condition in case of mental illness. Then obviously they will be slightly more expensive.
And what are these coverages like? If you talk about mental illness coverages also, the existing covers, what all do they cover? What kind of charges are they covering? And what kind of consults are we talking about? Hospitalization? And because we can also see the government is also working a lot, to eradicate or to at least have fewer cases of mental illness in the country. And there are different types of helplines which offer consult free of cost. What all in terms of services is covered in these policies so far?
Yeah, so typically what is so far covered in some of the policies, again, I'm making it clear, it's covered in some of the policies, new age policies. What is covered, suppose you have a 10 lakh coverage, then it will say that you have a sub limit of 1 lakh rupees towards mental illness. This is an example. And this covers, if you are detected with a mental illness, then this will cover X number of consults. It will cover an X amount towards expenses, towards medicines that you may need to buy for the period of 30 to 60 to 90 days post discovery of that mental illness, and when you are recommended a treatment for that mental illness. This is how the current policies cover this. But it is quite good, because today some of the consults can cost up to 5 to 6,000 rupees per consult, and the medicines are also quite expensive. So it is a good protection available to the consumer, that in case today it's such a dynamic environment, mental illnesses are becoming more and more common. And in India, there was a taboo against accepting that, look, I need to see a psychiatrist. That taboo is also going away. So people are more open to seeking treatment for this. So it's becoming a bigger area of coverage, and people are now seeking clarifications that, how much coverage is available in their plan.
In your distribution network, can you see people opting for mental illness covers? What is the experience been so far? Are there inquiries?
Yeah, especially amongst the corporate, we have seen that the young professionals who are working in very high pressure jobs. So they are more likely to ask for this question, and especially the young couples, have recently got married. Now they are, so this is a question where we have seen mostly is being asked by the younger insured population between the age of 25 to 40 or 35 would be the main this thing. So they are more concerned about mental illness, because they want to play a high flying life, they want to take on a lot of pressure. So they are concerned, look, if something goes wrong or something happens, what's the coverage? especially a lot of people who work on night shifts. They are very likely to ask a question that what is the coverage for mental and other illnesses, because they are working night shift, and that does have an impact on the body clock.
And this also shows a different side of the story, Sanjeev, where, in one side of the country, we see that it's a taboo talking about mental illness. But over here, if youngsters and millennials are coming up and asking about covers, which means there is acceptance, acknowledgement, and awareness about mental disorders and illnesses also. Thank you so much, Sanjeev, for participating in this discussion and helping our viewers understand this topic better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here. Thank you.